I want to talk to you more about the sort of emotional aspect to it, which of course the theme of the London Design Biennale this year is emotional states. So, and of course your piece beautifully ties in with the wider theme of the Design Biennale. So the transience of human emotions and feelings, the transience of human activity on the planet, which are core themes present in Matter to Matter, your piece, seem quite poetic, actually, very beautiful, and respond very well to the theme. How can emotions impact positively on design? Your take on it?
On this design or in design
generally? Yes, you think. As a designer.
I think it's the other way around, no?
Yeah.
How the design can impact on emotions.
I suppose emotions instigate a kind of response from a designer while you're producing a particular work or piece.
Like, okay, yes and no. Like, I don't think it's could be addressed so much for the designer.
It could reverse.
No, I think because, like, for an artist, yes, the emotions are maybe the most important, and then he expresses the emotions through art. Whereas for designer, I think it's much more you have this, not a brief, but you have this problem which in a way you try to solve, and emotions maybe are not the most important ones, because for artists maybe you create an artwork in a day or in a month, whereas design objects usually take longer, it's like 2-3 years, and emotions obviously change. So I think design is much more maybe industrial in a way, so the emotions are a bit
kept on the side.
In a way, yeah.
And yet, your work
yes.
comes from an emotional, personal
it does.
place.
It does. It does. Okay, it does.
Ironically.
Yeah, but then again, is it design? The question is, right? I think it's a mixture because it is a mixture. It's a tool, I would say. Like maybe in a design, if it's a design, then it's a design tool because it generates emotions. But I think it works the other way around. Through this design object, not the emotions that maybe designer had or he tried to put in the object, but the object that has, because object itself has some sort of emotions, or at least it generates some sort of emotions, and this one does generate. And when you see the people interacting, they have loads of emotions. Like usually they're positive ones actually. Like, and but
can you describe a particular situation that you may have witnessed since you opened? A visitor.
Just see when someone comes in, and then you're gonna see the emotions. Really, it's a surprise initially because whole vision from the distance. It's already because it's a big wall which condensates, and there's sound and there's a good smell actually, like the forest smell, scent. We try to work on all the senses. So it's tactile, you can touch it. It's visual, it's hearing, it's smell. And we have also seen people licking the artwork, so it's also a taste, yeah.
Oh, this is
yeah.
This is quite interesting.
So people have done many different things in here, but I love that the emotions can be seen on different kinds of age groups. We have seen toddlers here, who they can't talk, they can't even walk, they crawl. And they understand what to do. Like no one has told them to do because they don't understand, right?
Right.
But they're drawing something and they see that something is the footprint, the left marks.
Interacting with it, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're smiling and they're like really smiling. And when they are smiling, everyone in the room is smiling, and then it generates these kinds of emotions. Adults they see the work maybe a bit differently.
Right.
They see the deeper meaning of it.
Right.
So they leave there maybe quite shy in a way. They leave their mark, like a handprint, and they sit down and they look and it's disappearing. Whereas kids, they just don't care. They just go and draw and
they interact with them more instinctively.
Yeah. And then and adults they're a bit shy. Not all of them, of course, but in general, what I've noticed, they're a bit shy. They leave one fingertip. They see it's disappearing. Then they start to become maybe a bit braver because. They see that the work or their drawing disappears, and I think this has to do that if they would draw something and it wouldn't disappear, other people would in a way see and maybe judge, and they feel that they might get judged by what they draw and how it looks, And it does say something about the society, because the kids, they don't care, like they just draw, and then people are enjoying, and there isn't a good drawing or bad drawing or good writing or bad. But for adults, they're a bit shy.
They're not as limited, children. They're more intuitive in their expression compared to adults, I suppose.
Indeed.
In terms of response.
Yeah.
That's very beautiful, actually, very compelling. Also, another aspect I would like, of course, for our viewers, it will be very difficult to kind of get an idea of the aroma in a space, scent, and the sound. Of course, people can get an idea of it, and it sounds very much representative of nature in Latvia, presumably.
Yeah, it is. It is thunder.
Thunderstorms.
And it's Latvian thunder. Yeah, it wasn't like downloaded from the internet.
Yes,
we were filming a movie for this work, and we managed to be just in time. And there was a huge thunderstorm. There was lightning and like full combination of everything.
So very dramatic.
It was. And the movie eventually became like quite dramatic. But this is the sound we recorded, and then there are some birds. You can hear in the background as well, and this is Latvian sound,
Because the climate is very humid.
It is.
There.
It can be, not always, but it can be,
Right.
Because we are close to sea,
Right.
and there are many rivers, lakes, and forests, and
very humid. Also, I'm very interested in this bench, which is called the Statistic Bench, which has the shape of a hollow cylinder, looking rather smooth and sleek, beautiful, resembling a log. And it was made out of a variety of qualities of wood in Latvia that come from Latvia originally, right? That it works with.
Yes.
And that sort of represents the richness of the Latvian forests, which is very lovely to see. How does Latvia take the economic advantages of this particular trade, wood trade, for its industries, whilst preserving the local nature, environment, the forests? Do you think the country has reached a kind of good balance between both?
Yes.
Give us a perspective.
The balance is the correct word for that, because nowadays like 52% is covered in forest. Latvian territory is covered in forest.
Right.
Like 80 years ago, it was 27%. So in 80 years, from 27% to 52%, we have increased in the forests. And this has done by managing forests and managing it sustainably. And we have large companies, Latvian forestry companies, who are checking all the forests, monitoring them, and having many divisions, and then measuring all the trees, and then thinking, well, if they should be cut, if they should be preserved, and how they should be cut. And it's a big business, of course. Like primarily, we do it because of the business, right? But sustainable business. Yet it's done to preserve the biodiversity, because there's not only trees growing, right? There's animals and all the mushrooms, and there's
a whole ecosystem.
The whole ecosystem, indeed, and eventually, because 52% of the forests, this is the largest export in Latvia, wood. So of course there's a business behind it, but they have managed to create it as sustainably as possible, and it's still growing, so that's good. Even that the cities might be expanding,
right.
The forest is still there,
wow.
and I think they have done a good job. Of course, there's some improvements, but I think Latvians, they do care about nature.
Right. It's an integral part of Latvian society. So the government responds to that.
Yes, they have this committee, like a forestry committee,
right.
Which is they have their own politics, how they should be preserved, how many trees should be cut, and when they should be cut, and if you cut trees, you grow new ones.
Reforestation.
Yeah.
Right.
So what?
Reforestation.
Yes. So that's of course it's done not to save biodiversity. Let's be real, right? It's a huge part, but mostly business. But when you're doing the business, you think also about the other aspects, which is good. And we wanted to show in this bench. We wanted to create a bench initially because when you write something, you want to sit down and you can observe it disappearing, or just to sit and see how the droplets are dropping. And this bench is created from 13 different types of wood.
Wow.
according to the prevalence. So it's like literally a statistic bench. And you can see that 27% of this bench is made from birch, which is silver birch. And this is according to the statistics in the forest. So 27% of all trees in the forest are silver birch. 26% is pine. So here's 26 is pine. So this is a pie chart. And
So it's represented through material culture.
yes,
You know.
so you can see what kind of trees are growing in Latvia, how they look, and for me as a designer, it's quite interesting to see them together, the materiality, the colors. And I love
The
that
contrast between textures and colors.
yes, and I love that it's not only like maybe visually appealing or just functional where you can sit, but it's also educational. So it does tell you about Latvian forest, Latvian wood in a way,
The
Baltic
wood trade.
Yeah. Because like initially, I knew that there's going to be a bench for this installation when I proposed 2 years ago. I didn't know what it looked like, and I was focused on this work, and then bench is like secondary in a way. And everyone told me, just design a nice bench, like beautiful bench. Like why? Like why do we need to design a beautiful bench if you can go somewhere else and buy a beautiful bench? There are so many beautiful benches.
Yes.
And it took me like a long time to figure this one out. I was thinking, and I didn't know like what could it look like, what could it tell, what kind of story. And then I don't know how, but like it hit me. It could be like a statistic of really Latvian forest, because it's Latvian pavilion, Latvian forest, Latvian trees. And yeah, this is how the idea came from in a way. Last minute though.
It came also from sort of presumably your thinking of the forest, the Latvian forest.
Yeah.
And the log in a forest, and it's just a very beautiful bench. In fact, you know, you said very rightly, it has an educational purpose, which is really lovely to hear. But it looks like a beautifully, aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just nicely crafted item. Yeah,
Really well, and it was made in Latvia as well.
Yes, we wanted everything in here was made in Latvia. This was my specific goal, because if we are representing Latvia, then we in a way should do as much as possible there and show that we have technicians, we have knowledge, and we have resources to pull all this off. And I'm very happy and proud of the team behind it, because of course it's not only me, right? There's a team of technicians who were more than willing to take part, not knowing if it's gonna work or no, and I encouraged them, and then we were working together, and it's been good journey really.
It's been a successful project, really.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah, but well, there was an award which is very nice, but the most rewarding is that actually people are coming here, engaging, and then leaving their marks and footprints, and the emotions are really there.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the most satisfying in a way.
Of course, as a designer, you also have your own commercial practice. Do you intend to reappropriate the Statistic Bench into your commercial practice to sell it?
Well, you can buy this one now.
Well, fantastic. Just let me know the price.
It's quite heavy. It's 70 kilograms, so we should both take it out.
Take it out.
But no, I want to exhibit it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Commercial, of course.
So it will be for sale.
You could buy it. Yeah, I think it should be as a limited edition, though.
Yes.
Maybe I want to create. Well, I was thinking about creating it into a collection. So not only bench, maybe in a way a stool or a table or some sort of collection. Not yet sure. And this is
embodying
Latvian.
Similar themes.
Yeah. But this is Latvian. Like this is Latvian in a way forest. But there are many other forests. For example, UK forest and. Different types of trees, different statistics, different pie chart in a way.
Yes, absolutely.
It would be very interesting for me to see the differences, and not only like visual, but also like educationally. I even don't know what's the largest tree species in UK.
The prevalence of wood qualities in the UK, in Britain.
To be honest, like in Latvia it's silver birch. In UK I think it's something. It's not birch.
Yes.
So. It would be interesting to compare and to have it many different countries. So.
And potentially experience with different countries, different materials from qualities of wood from countries overseas.
Everywhere, yeah. Starting from Europe and going to Africa, where there are like very rare woods, right, in a way, and that would be interesting to preserve as well. Because this is like a design object, which is functional. It tells a message, it tells a story, but after many years, it would be also interesting to see how it changes. because the forests will change, right? So it's this is 2018, and what is going to be in 2038, for example, in 20 years? I don't know.
Absolutely. So it could have a multi-purpose function. In terms of you can use it for your commercial practice, as as you said, as part of a limited edition that you can sell as part of your enterprise, but also as part of an exhibition. And I very much feel that this is, as well as being a design installation, you're showing your design skills to the London Design Biennale visitors and to the world actually, but it also is an art piece. So this is relationship between design and art, this crossover, has it always been there in your mind?
In my mind, I guess.
Designing this?
In this?
Or other works of yours?
No, of course there are some works of design which are like strictly industrial design but even there I've always felt that the objects should raise some emotions. I've designed a bottle, for example, for a distillery brand in Riga. It's a 2-liter bottle. It's just a glassware, right? It's a glass bottle. The emotions people have and the reactions when they see the bottle, it's like, I've never expected that. They're like, oh wow, surprised, and they touch it, and then they grab it, and they look at it, and they take photos. It's just a bottle in general, but it does generate emotions. And they don't recycle, they don't throw away the bottle, they store it at home.
Nice.
We are offering recycling, but they don't do that because they want to keep it as a design object. And it does have some sort of emotion. And I think that, yes, objects like design objects should be functional, primarily, otherwise why design in a way? But I think they should have this function of raising emotions. So.
In fact, there's a lot of research out there done by across design industries, but particularly by design historians, about design having a greater impact, social impact, but also health impact, particularly with people with mental health issues. And designing certain objects in a particular color would help people to improve their mood, for instance. So there's a lot of research out there really interesting in that respect.
People love looking at water, like just the water.
It's very calming.
It is, and this is calming as well. Well, at least it can be. I don't know. There were people visiting us and sitting for an hour and then another hour and just looking there. No phones, nothing. So they weren't checking the phone.
Which is great.
But they were just looking at this, let's say, screen, and I found it quite mesmerizing, and it's quite meditative in a way. And
it has to me, the more I look at it, the more I interpret. It has this meditative element, which to me ties in with some, spirituality, and it's very calming. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's very successful.